You can split images apart in all kinds of ways in Affinity Photo using the Procedural Texture filter. The key thing, layers. Layers can be text, shapes, images. Go to the Layers panel and make certain the layer is unlocked. If you've got it locked, unlock it. Go to the Filters menu and then Colours and then Procedural Texture. And the key thing here, presets. I mean, you can use your own equations, perfectly reasonable use your own equations, but presets, there's just a lot of great ones already created. So let's just go for smooth bars. Great start point. And you can see here black and white, and that's because of R, G and B, and here's the equation here. But you can remove all those. So R, G and B, all gone, but you can go and set A. Now you've got your nice alpha channel. You can still continue to modify the settings here. And you can also modify the equation as well. Also what you can do, you can go up here and you can create a preset. Though obviously at this point I've got a preset. So let's just quickly change this a bit. So say 2 times Rx. So you can make slightly different there. Now what you can do, just go over here and create preset. I'm going to call that alpha 3, something very original, and I'm going to store it away in the coloured patterns crate. And the reason for that is because when you come back into this equation, that equation is gone. All the parameters, they're gone, and it's just a pity that they're not stored. So once you've got that, what you can do, you can hold down the Alt or Option key, and that was the reason for unlocking it, or you can just go over to Layer and Duplicate. You can also use duplicate linked if you want. So duplicate, and then just shift, just drag it down. And you can obviously drag it down in all kinds of ways, and you've just got a nice sort of paper cutting effect there. But also what you can do, you can of course just resize it. You don't have to keep it the same size. You can also rotate it. You also apply other effects. So you've got that effect, or maybe duplicate it. So let's just quickly duplicate it. So you can just create other duplications and just shift them backwards and forwards to create, and rotate that one as well. But also what you can do, because you've got that transparency now, you can go over here on the layers and you've got a little FX there. And you can click there and you can say outer shadow. Just add a quick shadow. Maybe go for 3D. So you get a 3D effect. And close. Also what you can do, you can apply effects. You've got other filters. Don't have to just go with the procedural texture. So you can always go to filters and go to distort, maybe deform. And that's just for that layer. Selected layer. You can see that layer there. That's selected. And just distort the design. So instead of having just obviously straight lines like that, you can still distort. But you can still see through the layer. And you can distort all those lines. Create all kinds of really quite interesting, weird and wonderful effects. So if you go to Filters and Colours and Procedural Texture, you notice straight away, as I mentioned, it's gone. That equation is gone, but you can always bring it back. So you can always turn around and say, well, luckily I saved it. So it's down here, alpha 3. So there's alpha 3. Well, this equation, you can change that equation. And it's a really nice feature of this that you can stretch it out if it lets you. There it is. So you can make it much bigger there. And you can then turn around and say, well, actually, I don't want to. Maybe I could go with C there. So I can put a custom input. Obviously, at the moment, I haven't got a C. So I'm just going to quickly create one. So R, there's C. And I'm just going to go for, let's just set that to 2 or 3. And you can see now I've got C up there and a slightly different design. And again, you've still got that A, all the R and G, but you don't have to have that. You can turn around and say, well, you know what, I want red as well. So the red can come into it. And you can modify the equation a bit more. Maybe turn around and say, instead of Rx, don't want just Rx, I can make it Ry. Now, Rx is, or Ry, is relative, so you can move it around backwards and forwards. So if I've got Ry, then you get this that way. And again, if you don't want the red, you can always remove that just as easy. Once you've done it, you can go and say, let's quickly save it. Create preset. This time I'm going to go for Alpha 4. And again, put it to the same one, coloured patterns, and create, so you don't lose it. But you can also add additional ones as well. So you can go plus that equation. Now, it doesn't make much sense at the moment, but maybe you turn around and say, well, Rx and Ry there. So you can make a nice little grid design, very quick and easy as well. Click apply. And again, if you want to, quickly create that as a preset. And quite what happens is you end up with loads and loads of presets. Luckily, there is a manage preset feature in there as well. So Alpha 5 and colour patterns and create. And that's just from one preset. You can literally create hundreds of variations just from one preset. And then go to apply. And again, what you can do now, in this case, I don't need to, of course, duplicate the layer particularly. Because what I can do, I can go to apply various effects, maybe filters, again, distort and deform. Maybe go over here to the FX. And then just quickly add an outer shadow. And you can see then the outer shadow there. And close. Obviously, this is destructive effect. That grid can't be removed now, other than just undoing, of course. That's another option, of course. Now, if you go to filters and again colours and procedural texture, there's not just that one, of course. You've got checkered. So let's just go for checkered. So checkered, very similar in many ways, I suppose, to that grid one. So you've got checkered there, and you can just gain R, G, and B, turn it off, or maybe keep R. So you can see like that for reasonable as well. But just go for A. And again, just vary that. Maybe go for 10. And then apply. And again, you can create a preset if you want. Perfectly reasonable. Just go create preset, Alpha 6. Eventually I get to Alpha, Moonbase Alpha. Let's just go down to there and apply. And again, do exactly the same as before. So you've got FX, you can quickly add 3D, bevel, etc. And again, you can always hold down the Alt Option key and duplicate the design and create combinations of those layers. So you can create quite a bit of a messy image, I agree, but it's still so. And of course, you can still rotate it, scale it, and do many other things as well. Again, hold down the Alt Option key and duplicate the design. Let's just go back to the image there. Again, filters and colours and procedural texture. And let's go down to this one. I'm just going to go for waves. So you've got waves. I think waves is a real nice one. And I'm just going to go again, R and G and B, and then A. And now you can see you've got a wave design. And again, you can modify this setting here. And again, you can go over here, create preset, Alpha 7. And create. But you can always vary it. You can create all kinds of different combinations. And you can see here, you've got RY, RX. You can do exactly the same as before. So maybe go for plus that. And then just go to the equation. So instead of RY, put RX. And then go, instead of that one, that's sine RX, go for sine RY. And you can see then you end up with a weird combination of maybe a bit messy combination, but you can change the wave setting and you can create variety. And again, you've got exactly the same thing. You've got this cutting through of the image. So again, go to various filters, maybe go filters, got blur, distort, maybe deform. And again, you can distort the image and you can see straight through the image like that. Also, what you can do, you can use exactly the same thing with maybe shapes. So you don't have to use just images. I mean, images are fine, but say you want to cut shape. Let's just go for a circle. Just a quick circle. It could be a diamond. It could be any of the other shapes as well. Perfectly reasonable. But now what you can do, you can go to filters and down to colours and procedural texture. Now, I've got these presets, of course. I can use any of these other ones as well. They all work well with the same approach with the alpha, with the A option. So I'm just going to do that one. So get rid of that one, get rid of that one, and just go for the A. You can see then through the image, exactly the same. But let's just go with the ones I created earlier. So sine 3, and you can see the result then. maybe alpha 4. And then apply. But you'll notice there's an issue here. And it's a pretty big issue actually. You can see it extends beyond, which is not what I want. There's a workaround for that. Of course, there always is. And you can go to Layer, or Select menu, and Selection from Layer. So you get a nice selection around it. Now go to Filters and Colours and Procedural Texture. Go to the presets again. Of course, there's all the other presets you could use, but go for alpha 7. You can see this time it doesn't extend beyond. And you can still continue to modify these settings and still tweak the values here. Maybe make that 5. Maybe make this, instead of A times 180, maybe go for 90. Or instead of 0.2, go for 0.7, and so on. So you can vary it. Maybe RY minus RX. 0.1. And so on. Now you can click apply. And of course, once you've done that, you can always go to select and deselect. So you've got your layer design here. And again, what you can do, go over to the FX, go to 3D, just extend that maybe, and then maybe go for outer shadow, and so on. And click apply. And again, exactly the same as before. You can hold down the Alt or Option key and just duplicate the design. You can create multiple copies of that. So it's not just images that can be used. And of course you can always rotate it, and you can see you can create a variety of different combinations. And of course what you can do, you can group all those and merge them all together, those sort of things. And you can do exactly the same with type as well. So you've got some type, just quickly go over to create some type. If type wants to stay on the screen, just quickly create it again. A. Yes, that's what I want. So I've got A. I can go to, and again, select and selection from layer. So selection from layer, and then go to filters, and then colors and procedural texture. Then go down to the alpha, down here to alpha 7, and you can see what happens. You end up with the text split apart like that. Deselect it. And of course you can still go to FX and add bevel, 3D, etc. And close. So you can create a whole variety of designs, you can create a whole variety of image effects and much more with the procedural texture filter. And that can all be found in filters and colours and procedural texture. And of course once you've applied it to this image, you can always apply it again. There's no limit on the fact you can't apply it. So if you just go down here and you go for alpha 1, you can see now, of course, it's applied over the whole thing, which is not what I wanted. Again, you can always go to select from layer. Now this time, of course, the layer obviously there isn't anything there, so you can see through it. Then you can go to, again, filters, colors and procedural texture. Select alpha, let's go down to alpha 7, and you can see you can split it a bit more. Or alpha 6. And create all variety of different effects, simply with combinations of procedural textures as well. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. A dislike or like, always appreciated. Thank you much.